Hello and welcome back to another episode of Strange Origins podcast. I'm here with my ever-loving co-host, Rodrigo. Rodrigo,
Please have mercy.
68,
Right, don't
episode
do
68,
this.
in case you didn't know.
Yeah, finally.
On the way from the golden number.
The one, every number that everyone fucking
They've been
somehow
waiting
just
for.
goes, hey,
Maybe
or
we'll do like a, I don't know, a sex topic on 69.
I was just thinking about it, but I was just like, I don't know, man.
Maybe people should be more open to, that sort of stuff. So
We'll see.
we'll see. Get demonetized. We don't get monetized anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
But as always, we were having a conversation before we started the podcast that was actually more interesting than what we cover in the actual podcast. It happens all the time, and we end up talking for like 30 minutes before we even start. And we're like, shit, that should have been the podcast.
And then I was like, we should put this in the podcast.
And I was like, you know what? You're right. Basically, what we were talking about was, World War II, so it's not exactly the best topic in the world, but
Yeah,
I was talking about, because literally just this second, I just got back from the Imperial War Museum.
Yeah.
And I was just telling Rod about all the stuff I learned that we were not taught in schools. And I don't mean like it was withheld from us. I just mean it just wasn't on the curriculum for some reason.
I wish it was dead, to be honest.
Yeah,
so I'd be more interested and fascinated by it.
I was like, so I ended up reading about, I would say about 40 paragraphs of stuff just scattered all over this exhibition.
Yeah.
Just because it was so interesting. Like, all of it was interesting. And I don't know about you, my school never took a trip to the Imperial War Museum.
I don't know. We just always went to the Tate because it was like...
Ah, okay.
It was more of a, like artistic.
Yeah,
We never really went to museums for, like, sort of, like, historian purpose, unless it was, like, art-related.
Yeah, I think I went Natural History Museum once. No, Science Museum or something like that.
We went to those ones, but it was just never, like, sort of, like things that actually happened, like with the war, like the whole thing with like the Imperial War Museum.
Yeah.
So.
But so basically this exhibition was about World War II and that, and I learned about. We all know that America joined the war late, but I didn't know that the only reason really that they joined was because of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, right? Which most people probably know that, if you're a little bit of a history buff. But I didn't know that Russia were on the Nazis' side at the beginning of the war, and they divided Poland between each other to the point where the Poland was actually wiped off the map. And if you were to make a map then, it would be like Russia and Germany, had already taken over. Yeah, there was no Poland.
Yeah.
Which I had no idea. I had a vague understanding that they weren't allies at the beginning, but I didn't know they just divvied up the population of Poland or the area.
Yeah. When you told me about this, I was like, wait, were they because I thought they sort of shared the same agenda of but then when you told me it was just basically because of
it was just because of land, and it's kind of like what's happening all the time nowadays. It's just land,
and it's just fucking nuts.
Resources. That's pretty much what it is as well.
And
everyone, and I always remembered obviously Russia being the allies, so I never really got taught that. But I watched a funny thing actually, so the big three as they were known, which was Roosevelt, the leader of America, Churchill, leader of Britain, and what's his name, Stalin for Soviet Union.
Russia.
Yeah, they all met to negotiate when D-Day was going to happen, which is when everyone basically all three of those were going to attack at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, and they negotiated that in Tehran, which is the capital of Iran, which I find so fucking bizarre to me.
It is a bit. I mean, I guess it's a.
It was a neutral ground. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a hidden thing. It's like a hidden, no one's gonna expect it.
But I never thought I'd relate to something because of my heritage through that means. That's so weird to me.
But see, this is the thing. They never teach you this in school.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about this. Then they only teach you what's sort of what needed to be
on the test
to pass the test.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it kind of sucks because if I knew about the whole Soviet Union being sort of with Germany and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This because of land, I think I would have paid more attention to it. But instead, they were just sort of they were just allies,
Yeah.
They fought the same not ideals, but they fought the same war, and I'm like, all right, okay, cool.
And without sounded I don't know what the word is, but splitting people up in that, they cater to your audience in a certain way. For instance, boys at that age, right, are usually interested in the guns, the warfare, that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then teach them that. Like, for instance, what I showed you, I showed Rod basically 3 pictures of 3 different series of guns. And one of the ones we use in games today that we play.
Yeah.
And they're in countless other World War games. And I found out that the reason those were produced was because it was a manufacturing thing. They had to make them fast. The first iteration took 17 hours. The next one took 7, and then the other one took 3 hours. And it just goes to show like how much people all came together to try and make these things really quickly. And then, you know, and there's so much examples of how the population worked all together, like to do this sort of stuff. And I was just like, can you not just teach me that?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like,
instead of just teaching me dates, like, is this date? It's this date.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's happened this day, or like, why did it? It's like, it's not even why, and like, who. It's just like, it's just this day, this day, this day, and it's just like,
I mean, and part of it might be because we're kids. We're just like a bit of an arseholes, weren't really listening and stuff. But
but it's like, I think we're at that age, especially when we're like kind of like 15 or 16. This is like almost finishing school.
Yeah.
Where like, I think that's when we sort of, I don't know, make a choices of either we want to pursue this.
Yeah.
Because again, if someone was pursuing like to be a historian, especially of like World War or whatever,
yeah,
they want to know all, like, not just dates, but like they want to know like who was there, like what country was doing what country was doing this, like, and just to be taught like the bare minimum just to pass a test.
Yeah,
it's dumb.
I mean, one of the reasons I got put off of taking history at a higher level was literally what they said to me was like, if you take history, it's a lot of learning dates and memorizing dates, and that put me off. Yeah. Rather than actually learning about the subject matter. Like, I get the dates, but that would come with time. Like, why did my teachers tell me that? What they should have told me is like, it's if you love that kind of era and learning about that sort of stuff, like, it's just basic teaching. Like, you know, if your passion lies in that, you'll learn it.
So they're trying to discourage you to like.
Yeah, legit. Like, they were trying to discourage me from doing certain stuff like that.
It's fucking crazy.
I don't know, man. That sort of stuff like always like pissed me off. Like just going to this one museum, I learned more than I had for a while in the World War studies, at least of the history lessons.
Yeah.
Like even I learned about North Korea and South Korea, which was in a different section, obviously. But that one, I didn't realize that the reason that all started or one of the reasons was it was divided along the middle, right?
Yeah.
So North and South. And the South was influenced by United States, so democracy was introduced, and the North was introduced communism by Russia. So if you boil down like a lot of the wars in the world, it's Russia versus the US, and it has been for a while. Like Vietnam was the same. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the North Korea, South Korea, the Cold War, all of this stuff is exactly the same.
It's kind of like what's happening now as well.
Yeah, exactly.
In Ukraine,
even the war in the Middle East, it was the same thing. Because Russia like were trying to do stuff with Iran, like pressuring them, Iraq as well, and so US was sending more weapons the other way. It's like, Jesus Christ! If you took, if these two countries were like not in the equation, right, there would be a lot less wars in the world.
Exactly, and it's like, and the funny thing is like I found this out like yesterday. So like, you know how like in the map, right, it shows that like they're on the other side, right?
Oh yeah, no,
but if you and I genuinely didn't know about this. And someone was like, if you put it like in a globe, they're
right next to each other.
Yeah. From Alaska to fucking.
This makes me laugh so much because I was taking the piss out of people like that, right? And I was like, you guys do not. How do you not think that the world is a globe? Like, and I know what you mean because you always see the world like that.
Yeah.
But they're literally like Alaska used to be Russian, I think. And they gave it to them in some sort of treaty or something like that. I may be wrong in that, but I'm pretty sure that's why they were pissed off, because that's like their land.
Yeah, and I'm just like, if this war starts, that's like the first place they're gonna go to. It's like that.
Have you not seen that meme where it's like, if the war does start, can you please do it in this little circle over here where no one lives? Like fight there, please.
You just have like a bunch of warships there, and I just have you wear and just like.
And like obviously, by the way, I want to like preface it by saying like we're not having to go at the people of the countries. It's usually the fucking leaders in power and the corrupt, all that shit. But it's just like, I swear to God, like it's all been like business deals. Like even after the D-Day thing was announced, like there was the Cold War started like straight after. Like it started like, because it was obviously the war ended in 1945, 44, I think it's 45, and then like 10, 15 years later, Cold War started, which is them like America and Russia again.
Because I'm not explaining to me what the fuck was the Cold War is about. Because I keep
Okay.
hearing it, but I never exactly.
The Cold War was basically a war, an what's it called? Arms race, to see who has the bigger dick, basically. And the countries saying that I'm the biggest superpower, and trying to build up an army. There was a threat of like nuclear war, like constantly. But it was basically, they were saying how one of them had more weapons than the other, and they perceived the other as a threat. Yeah. So Russia didn't like some of the things that went down during the World War II, like peace treaty stuff. And they thought America got too much. So they were like, this is bullshit. They want to get more, and vice versa. They both thought that about each other. And they realized that, you remember, like, America's reasoning, at least back then, was Russia were initially on the side of the Nazis.
Oh, so they're trying to go back.
Yeah, so they were like, we should be careful of these, because yes, they were our allies, but they are kind of like enemies. And Russia is the same thing. They saw America as a country that influenced people and changed their culture.
Yeah, to basically
to be American.
Yeah,
which is what they did in a lot of countries, to be fair. And it's not their fault. It's not like they went in and did that on purpose. At least I think.
I think it was just natural, like the way they saw it was more sort of like. So it's like when people go to America, it's like, oh, like look at this, like, land of the free and stuff. Yeah, they want that.
They want that
in their country, like.
And obviously, Russia, being communist, did not like their people thinking that they could just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
there needed to be some sort of order.
Yeah. It's like basically order and like freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like,
so it is strange. Like I also, in this one, when I went there as well, I found out a lot about how a lot of the other countries, like African countries and all that sort of stuff, like helped a lot during the war. And like, I mean, people say you don't learn about this. I didn't learn about this in school at all. But if you go to the museums in Britain and that, it tells you. It does tell you. It's all there. There's like a whole thing dedicated to them. All the African countries that helped.
Yeah, see, I never knew about this. This is the issue that I have. It's like, apparently it's always been like the big three, or like Europe. They never mentioned like Africa being involved, or like parts of Asia being involved.
Or Middle East. I mean, people actually didn't even know that Iran were neutral in the war in World War II. They didn't want to get involved. They saw it as not their war. Yeah. And Russia tried to invade them to get oil, and it was like. Iran was like, what the fuck? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, like, also Russia invaded Finland as well at one point during the wars.
Yeah, no, I heard about that, and then they lost it.
They lost because I mean, you're always at a disadvantage when you invade somebody else, because it's like the home field advantage. Like, they know their land. It's the same what happened with Germany when they invaded Russia or Soviet Union. When they invaded the Soviet Union, they were not ready for that weather. Like the Russian people were like used to it. So
exactly. So it's kind of like with Finland as well, because like Finland is like up. Right away. It's like it's cold, so they know how to navigate. Properly,
exactly.
How to like set up camps and stuff. So
it's just like it was just chaos, like in that era. But like going back to the original point of like how schools don't teach you this sort of stuff, I do think that our education system, or at least I say our education system, I haven't been in one for like 10 years, but like when I was there, it was very much you learn the subjects to pass the test.
Yeah,
and I don't like that kind of stuff. Like, it's just annoying.
I agree, but I think thinking about it now, I think, is it because of budget,
maybe,
or is it because of sort of?
I mean, it could be passion and stuff as well. Like, I was talking to my nephew, and he's doing geography, right? One of his like subjects he picked, and they're learning about deserts, and I was like, wow, I would have loved to have learned about that when I was a kid and doing my geography GCSEs, because what I got taught was like urban development, and I hated it. Like, I found it really boring. Because we were learning about the Olympics and stuff like that.
I don't remember my geography.
Well, did you pick it as a GCSE?
No, but like it's just there.
Yeah.
Like the first 3 years. Like, you learn it. And I'm like, I don't know. The only thing I know about geography is Pangea. That's all I know.
But you know what I mean? Like that. His subject was about deserts, right? Yeah. And then I said to him, oh, like, the cool thing about how, like, they used to be oceans, right? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, did you not get taught this? And he's like, no. He's like, yeah, they used to have oceans, like, that's why it's sand. It's like, I said to him, like, what do you find at the bottom of the ocean? He was like, sand. I was like, there you go. And he was like, what? Like, and I was like, ask your teacher about it. How have they not taught you this? Like,
it's almost like basic, but it don't.
But like, stuff like that can really bring in a kid. Like, they can really bring in like their interest. Like, they can be, oh my god, really? Like, Do you know what I mean? Like, rather than just going, okay, this time we're going to be learning this from the textbook, read pages 105 to 107.
Yeah, exactly. Go back to your point of just being taught like the bare minimum just to pass tests. And
I used to hate those textbooks because they weren't interesting at all.
They were thick and useless for no reason.
My chemistry textbook was this thick, and it was just all equations. And I was like, I don't fucking get it.
You know, my RE book was that it's just a Bible. It's the Bible, and I did not like it. I'm sorry.
In my school, you got to pick what religion you wanted to study. I do remember that.
No, because I went to a Catholic school.
Oh,
we were just enforced with.
You're learning the Bible, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like.
I mean, my school was good for religion, but.
No, for me, like this, how much I did not care about like religion. No, I'm not saying like anyone. I'm not trying to be offensive, but it's just like this, how much I didn't care about it. It's just like they were like, oh, so who are like the main four in the Bible? Like the four like what are they called?
Apostles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. And everyone looked at me, and I've just like committed the biggest sin of my life.
Yeah, I mean, you would have in a Catholic school, to be fair.
Right. And I'm just like. At that point, I'm like, I'm an atheist. Like, I don't care. Yeah. I'm more into art and science because because that's my interest.
Yeah,
I don't understand why I need to be here. Even in my GCSE, when I was like, we were forced to take RE.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I didn't know. All I chose was art. See, from technology to art. That's it.
I think we've had this discussion before. I'm not sure if it was on podcast or not, but it could have been on stream. But I do believe that you should be taught like RE. Like,
oh no, yeah, we talked about this in the podcast.
Yeah, because like you should learn about other people's like religion because it's their culture, right? It's almost like a cultural studies is what it should be called now instead of religion, right? That would be a little bit better because at least you could learn about other people's culture. I would love for that to be a thing.
Like, yeah, but the issue, like I think I know where you're going with, right?
Yeah.
When you're studying like RE, I think you should be able to like learn every religion.
Yeah, which is what we did in my school.
But in my school, it was just purely Catholic.
Yeah, which is bad. Not Catholic is bad, but
because like, it made me just be like, man, like it's just like, why am I just learning this? Like, you know?
Yeah.
I think I would have been more interested if they would talk about like, you know, Islam or Muslim or like, you know, any other.
Yeah.
Or Buddhism.
Well, like, see, I'm against. Like, this is my personal opinion. I'm against the people that say that religion shouldn't be a thing in this society nowadays because I'm not a religious person. I'm really not. Like it sounds like I am, but I'm not. It's just I think people should be free to do what they want and learn what they want. And I don't think you should persecute people for wanting to learn more about that subject.
Yeah.
So because because there's a lot of like posts I see and like memes and stuff like that, right? Which are trying to persecute people that have religion. And at the core of it, what I've seen from religion is culture and it's trying to help your fellow person and all that stuff, right? But everyone always sees the negative. And I think you shouldn't be allowed to not study it. Do you know what I mean? Like if you want to study it at school, you should be allowed to.
Yeah. I think the reason why it's negative is because it's the only thing you hear in the news.
Yeah. Like you never hear about the good stuff at all.
Yeah. Like you know, like what is it, what religion is it, the one that knocks on your door and you just...
Oh, Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I hear, like, I don't hear anything great about Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not saying that, like, you know, there isn't anything great. But the only thing I hear from people is just, oh, they knock and they just bother you, just pester you. That's all I hear about it. I mean, I'd like, so like it makes me not want to be interested because that's all I see.
No, I get what you mean, yeah. And that, like, I think that goes back to the same sort of issue of like of learning like these kind of things. If I had learned more about other cultures. And I don't just mean the religions. This is what I was saying about cultural studies. It should be called because learning about some of the cultures in like Africa, say for instance, would be great because I don't know much about that continent.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know I've tried to do my own studies and stuff, but I don't know much about it. Yeah. And it's the same with Middle East. I feel like for a lot of people, a lot of people don't know much about Middle Eastern culture, or even like the history of like some of the oldest cities in the world that are in Middle East.
Exactly. Yeah. Or like how like I don't know, Pakistan, it's like they've just bombarded it with propaganda and shit, but it's actually the nicest fucking one of the few nicest countries in the fucking in Middle East.
Yeah.
They treat foreigners like they're fucking like they just give them free food or whatever. And it's just like you never learn.
That's the thing. That's a lot of countries in the Middle East.
Yeah, like, it kind of sucks
because the crux of Islam is to help everybody, like to be the people that You know, when they come to your door, you feed them,
Yeah.
like you help them. You know, and now a lot of people are like, I wouldn't let someone random into my house.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not
So
at all. So
but again, it's just us being taught not enough, I guess, not enough information.
yeah, yeah, and I again, like, I don't think that education system is ever going to get reworked, in my opinion. Like none of that's going to happen.
And it sucks. Like I just wish we had more freedom and diversity in school.
But then, here's a question for you: do you think that shouldn't be a responsibility of our education system and more a responsibility of your parents to teach you those things? Because nowadays, a lot of people consider your parents as people who just look after you, and that's it. And the school is what educates you. But I feel like it should be 50-50. You should be educating your kids as well.
Yes, but the issue with that is like, I think if your parents teach you another thing and you try to bring it up in school, and you know, because they have that, because as I said, school has the thing of like sort of giving you enough information to pass a test, right?
Yeah.
But if your parents gives you a different information and you put that in your tests or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They might consider it as sort of like, oh, this is wrong. But
Maybe.
if your parents is teaching it to you and they have the right information, but because it's not in the right, I don't know, like school thing, they'll just be like, oh, this is wrong. And like, your parents are lying to you. So like, I think it should be.
I feel like that comes to that's what you said there stems, at least for me, it sounds like it stems from a lot of like the fact that you went to a Catholic school. And that's what they would have told you if you were talking about stuff about Islam or Buddhism or something like that. Yeah. Whereas in a non-religious school, I think that might be what you should do with your kids at least. Like again, this is coming from two people who do not have kids, but in my opinion, the way I have nephews, and the way I was brought up, my dad was Muslim, my mum was Christian, but they both said to me, "You believe in what you want to believe," and that's what it should be.
Yeah, see me, I was the opposite. I was just like, my parents are both Catholics.
Yeah,
they were just like, go to church. Catholic church.
Yeah,
just, you know,
I feel like that comes from the fact that both my parents are different religions.
Yeah, and like that's the one thing like I do with people when your parents tell you to have your own choice instead of them choosing it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky to have that. Like, I was lucky to have the freedom of choice. Like
me, I was never. I had to force myself out of that mindset. Yeah, and they looked at me like, oh, like, you know, you're disobeying.
Yeah, I had a friend that was very similar to you because of the Catholic thing.
Yeah,
and that was he wouldn't swear, like he wouldn't swear because he was like, it says in the Bible you're not meant to, which I don't think it actually explicitly does, but it says I'm pretty sure that's just what his parents told him, but it says he said, oh, it says you're not meant to swear or say these words, and I'm like, dude, nothing bad's gonna. It sounds like I'm a bad influence, but I was like, dude, don't. That isn't the key message you should be taking away from the Bible. Yeah, like it should be the good parts.
I agree. Yeah, but and it's like at the end of the day, it's your choice.
That's what I said to him. I said, like, look, I'm not gonna force you to do anything.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
you're gonna hear me say the F word a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta go to church anyway, and like, you know, like repent your sin or whatever, or like, like speak to the fucking priest.
Sponsored by Angry, by the way.
Or like speak to the priest just to, like, you know, to them to just, like, you know, just banish your sins or something.
Well, this is the thing, like, right? I never said to, like, I never had a problem with it. He never had a problem with me, but his sister, every time we used to swear, or he would swear, or I would swear, she would go, "You shouldn't do that. That's blasphemous." And it's like, can you, like, look? I'm not saying you should do anything, and you shouldn't be saying I should be doing something. You know, like that. That's where I start to get a little bit annoyed at that sort of stuff.
If that's the case, if you're following through the entire Bible,
oh man, there's so much.
You would be committing sin every 10 minutes of your life.
Yeah,
and it's just
there's a lot of stuff in there that you shouldn't do.
Are you willing to just go to church every other day just to repent your sin?
Yeah,
go on, tell me. Instead of just living a life that you wanted.
I do see. I think, again, I'm on the other side. I think I'm less anti. Because I think religion has done a lot of stuff for culture. Like, and it sounds weird. I know it's done some bad stuff. And I think you definitely can be a science person and a religious person. You definitely be both. I don't think one means the other.
I think funny you said it, because there's there's sort of like this guy. You probably know him, Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
He's a science. He knows. He's more of a logical theologist, right, or whatever.
Yeah, he's a bit of a knob sometimes, but yeah,
but he said that like he I think he believes in God as well. He's not an atheist anymore. He believes in something.
That's agnostic. I think that means.
Yeah, and I'm just like actually, and the way I can't remember like how he said it, but he said it in a really nice way that like you're allowed to believe in scientific reasons, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But you're also allowed to have a freedom of like you choose to believe in like a higher being.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's great. Like,
I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, like, I agree because like look from a world that can't even understand or theorize or explain certain things, it's not really that hard to think that some higher being put life on Earth. It's not really that hard. Even if it came from a meteor, it doesn't matter. It's still the things that happened. Yeah, the things that happened are lucky, let's say, right?
Yeah.
But I going to what I said, like I think religion has done a lot for society in terms of like culture. So like art, for instance, art, there was a massive Renaissance like boom in Italy and France and stuff like that, and a lot of the artwork came from ultra realistic paintings of like Catholicism and religious like symbols and stuff like that. That would not have happened without that sort of stuff. A lot of that sort of stuff like happened because of that. Like a lot of ideals about infidelity and marriage and all that sort of stuff. It all came from that sort of stuff. So I'm not 100% anti it. Like and the people that are kind of like are not looking at the entire facts. Is what I would say.
They're just looking at like
they're cherry picking.
Things that's being they're also they're just it's like them watching just the bad thing in the news.
Yeah, of course.
Or like experiencing it instead of like just actually just. I mean, I think I'm kind of like on your side, but I'm not saying that I'm against religion.
No,
right? I'm not a believer of it, but I'm just saying like in a cultural sense, like what you said, I agree.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna believe in anything. Again, we're two different people.
No, of course. Like I don't go around trying to make people believe what I believe. It's just I've always been known as like at least people know me as like quite a logical person, right? And my logic comes from the fact that we have so much mythology and different religions and all that, but they all stem from one same place that something created us and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of believe in something, because everyone was saying the same thing, and these were cultures that were separated by so many people, so much land. No one spoke to each other here, and they all came to the same conclusion. So maybe, I don't know, but again, I'm not. This isn't me like trying to like persuade anyone. That's just my opinion on it, and your opinion is different.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go on a street corner down my tube station and start going, "Jesus loves you." Like
you're gonna condemn. You're pregnant and you're not even married.
Yeah, I literally walked past one today, like, and this one wasn't even that bad. It was just like they had a guitar, they were just singing, saying Jesus loves you and all that stuff, like, and holding that signs. And I was like, to be fair, I don't really mind that. That's fine. It's still a little bit like annoying to get past, but like, I want to walk around, and they're like, "Here's a leaflet." And I'm like, "No, thank you." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think what's worse, and I think again going back to like it's just my experience. It's like I think what's worse for me is like when I'm trying to get to work, especially when I used to work in like London, right?
Yeah.
Every morning I would have the same people at my station just shoving a leaflet in my face about God, and I'm like, please have mercy.
So yes, right? I picked this up last time.
I don't need this every day of my life going like 5 days of work to London just to be forcefully just take this.
Harassed.
Yeah, it's just like again, it's just my experience. But...
Yeah. No, I understand. Like, I think like that sort of stuff when it's very pushy, like a lot of people don't like that. And like, even in shops, my God, like if I go into a shop and like the person comes up to me, it's like, "Can I help you with anything?" And then it keeps asking. I'm like, "Just leave me alone. I'm leaving the shop." Like, just if I need help, I'll come and ask.
You have lost a valuable customer. A good man.
You know that because that's quite a big thing in other countries, like America. Like they'll come over and ask you, like, "Are you being okay? Are you being okay? Are you being served? Like, do you need help and all that stuff?" Whereas in the UK, it's less like that.
And I think we're introducing it here. Like like is it Amazon Fresh? Is that
I haven't been in one actually.
Where there's literally no.
No people.
No people. It's only some that's like restocking, but they won't bother you.
Yeah.
Like But it's just
you can ask some questions and stuff. I did see some shops trialed like some sort of basket or trolley that had a flag that used to say like I want help or I don't. Like basically it was like leave me alone or I don't mind if you come over and ask me something.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah, I mean that could work. But it sounds like you're just in a kindergarten.
There was one basket that was definitely going to be way more used in UK.
Yeah.
It's like don't talk to me, don't talk to me, don't talk to me.
It's like I need help, but he says don't talk to me. Fuck off.
I got a story actually from work which I can talk about. God. So we got these. It's a small one, but we got these like water jugs at work, right? Everyone wants to have like some tap water. That's fine. Like it's got like a little lid on the top, and you just pour it, right? This lady comes over and says, none of these are full. There's no water in them. And I was like, wait, none of them? Like all the jugs? She was like, yeah, no, none of them. I was like, okay, cool. Colleague goes over and tries to pick it up. And you know when you do that thing where you go to think you're picking up something light and it's not?
Yeah.
And she was like, she was like, that's full up. Like, and you can feel it's full up. And she was like, well, why is nothing coming out? You've got to press the fucking lid off. Like, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I get it, but like, I literally turned to my coworker. I was like, "How do they get out of bed in the morning?" Like,
no, it's how are they still alive? How do they function normally? You know, like
how do they function as a person? Like, I don't get it. You couldn't figure out. Like, she like instantly was asking for help, right? Rather than just, and she was young. She's like our age.
That's the issue of like, I think she either has a butler or she's been babied her whole life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's just like, how are you gonna manage on your own?
Look, I'm not like judging or anything, but
yeah,
if you can't spend at least 5 seconds to figure out why the water isn't coming out of this very heavy jug, then,
or even just stand there and just be like,
yeah, just give it a bit of thought. Like, do you know, maybe go back and do this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't matter how weird you look. Just be like, you know what?
I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah. Like, it takes you for like days or whatever. Just
like, I don't know. She just felt like someone that's like you hand her a puzzle and she just fucking throws herself at the table and just like collapses. I don't know how to do this. I don't know, man. God. Yeah, there's a bunch of people like that at the moment. Like, I was talking to my mum about like these customers like that keep coming in, and she was like, "Why don't you just put up like a sign?" And I was like, "Mum, there are signs everywhere. People do not read these signs. Like, I swear."
No matter how big it is, it could be like, oh, it's like it's free. It'd be like, oh, is that over there? Is that free?
Yeah. Okay. Is that a flashing neon sign? It could be saying, "Please take me," and it would be like, I don't know.
Fuck me.
Yeah. Anyway, we're about out of time now. Anyway, but it was a fun little episode.
You know what? Hold. You know, I didn't even ask you how your 7th was.
Oh shit! Was that? See, we were gonna get through one episode without having it, but there we go. 7 was fine. I went to Imperial War Museum.
7 was fine. I was just working. That's fine. So that's it.
But yeah, we're gonna be back again next week. We're back on a solid schedule now, so don't worry. Don't pine for us. We're here now. But like and subscribe and all that stuff. Like, recommend us to your friends if you think they'll be interested. And we'll see you guys for our 69th episode.
Oh shit, yeah.
So I hope that's numbers right. I hope we are on the 69th next week. But
67 next week.
But and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Yep.